The following episode may contain sensitive content. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome
To the show must go on. I'm Tracy.
and I'm Nikki and we are here to judge per usual.
Our favorite.
How has it been for the last 2 days for you, Tracy?
I know this is quick because I'm going on vacation.
Tell us where you're going.
So I'm going on a little cruise. So we're
Fun.
going to DR. We're going to
Represent.
Yeah, which I've never been, so I'm very excited.
Okay.
Even if
I'm
it is
excited
the
for you.
touristy area. And then we're going to San Juan, Puerto Rico, and then
Hey, that's where Ceci's from.
Hey, I've been there a couple times. I really like it, so I'm excited to go back. And then St. Thomas.
Okay,
Virgin
nice.
Islands,
Little
so.
Caribbean vibe.
Yeah.
Before
so-
hurricane season.
I was just thinking that last night. I was like, is it hurricane? Fuck, it's
No,
hurricane
no.
season. And I was like,
No,
but
it's not.
is it? I thought it was.
No, it's not.
It's not?
It's not. No. You're good.
I feel like it just keeps getting drawn out longer and longer. So I'm like,
No,
it
you're
is.
good. You're good. And after the trauma you went through, like to go to freaking Hawaii.
oh my gosh,
God.
that was
Yeah.
insane. But
You
I
told
feel
me
like
that, and I had PTSD that didn't belong to me.
I feel like the Atlantic is a little bit smoother than the Pacific, so I'm not worried.
Oh.
It'll be fine.
Yeah. I think so too.
Yeah, so I'm excited. But yeah, so you were very nice to be like, let's record and stuff.
Yeah, so we're recording a little bit earlier than usual. So this episode will come out in like almost 2 weeks. Very, very exciting because today we have a guest. But before we introduce our guest, I wanted to talk to you really quick, Tracy,
Yeah.
about I don't know if you knew this, but the Academy Awards like changed their quote unquote rules, which by the way, I was
Okay.
like, how was this not a rule?
Thank you. I know what you're gonna
So-
say, and I agree. Go ahead, please. For those who don't know,
For those who don't know, apparently everyone that votes in the Academy Awards for the films, the actors, and all that, they weren't required to watch all the films. How was that not a thing?
when I read that, I was shocked because I just assumed, like an idiot, that if you're
That-
voting
that
for
is
these things, that
mandatory.
it's required to watch everything that's nominated so that you can make your vote
This explains so
based
fucking
off because
much.
it's the best of the best, right?
Exactly. No words.
I'm shocked. I was shocked.
Justice for the actors in many movies that have never been like that. They get the nomination and then they don't get the award, and I'm like, how did that not win?
Well, now we know.
Half of them did not watch it.
Yeah.
I do not. I have no words. I'm shocked. I was
Yes.
like, how is this not mandatory? And also, what an insult to everyone that works in the industry.
Yeah.
Or people, like, let's say you're a new upcoming actor, like the Honora girl. That
Mikey Madison.
She probably didn't fucking know. And, you know, she won. So she's like, well, it worked for me,
Right.
you know? But you think of the other actors that maybe didn't know. I'm like,
Also, when you
I
think
don't know how
about
I
it,
feel about that.
there's like a dozen movies that they need to watch, right? Because most things are
Yeah.
like, you know, best actor, best act. A lot of movies are in like the same categories, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like they only have to watch
not that
like
many.
12, 13, 14 movies, whatever it is. And I know there's like
Even
the
if it's like
documentaries,
35, that you have one job. Like, I don't get it. And here we are begging to be part of this board or whatever. because I love to
all.
watch it, and I'm not getting paid for it. So, you know.
Thank you. Hire us.
I sometimes I have to go pay for it to go watch it at the movie theater.
Right, I know. Send me the DVDs. I'll watch it. Oh my
God, it's so upsetting. Jesus.
It's upsetting and just makes zero sense. Like, I read that and I was like, this wasn't a thing before?
No words. I have no words. Okay. No words.
Wow.
What have you been watching?
In
the past 2 days.
I know. I watched a couple more episodes of that Gotta Get Out on Hulu.
I know. So good. So good.
It's fun.
I finished, well, I have one episode left of the Vanderpump Villa, and then I'll start the new season with Stassi. And obviously the Valley is so good. I love it. I'm like, I wish we had like many seasons to binge, but it's just still fresh and new.
Right.
And let's see. Oh my God. Well, I'm not gonna say anything. I just watched the episode of The Last of Us on Wednesday.
Oh. You know, I just read that
I just took a deep breath in.
People are like really disappointed with this season. It has like a 52 on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
Oh my God.
I mean, well, we know there's like a love-hate relationship with Rotten Tomatoes. Like sometimes we agree,
true. That's
sometimes
true.
we don't.
But honestly, it's only 2 episodes in.
Right.
And this second episode, it was like it was like the long night of Game of Thrones. Like that was the quality of the episode.
You couldn't see anything.
No.
Like, what's happening?
You could actually see, which is even better. Yeah. So I think just with that episode, I was like, wow, I'm obsessed already. So yeah, it's just like mixed emotions, but it's so well done. So I do recommend, and they're following the story of the video game. So, you know, it's not
that's why I think people were having an issue, because I thought that they were like, it's not. But see, I've never played the video game, so I don't know.
Yeah, me either. I thought it was like that. That's what I understood. But, you know, I don't know the game. I just love the show. It's great.
Right. It's more of just like they're taking the basics of the game, and then of course they're gonna, because it was like, I don't know, they do that. It's Hollywood, you know? They're gonna just take the essence of something and then they sprinkle in whatever they want. They take their creative...
Exactly.
Whatever.
Well, okay, enough bantering because we're going to have a guest waiting for us.
Yeah.
Guys, we have a guest today, and it's
very
very exciting. I always love having guests. I always love having people with a different mindset.
Same.
And, you know, she's one of the coolest people I know, and she's also, like, very open-minded, which I love about her. So today's guest is, I'll say her short name, Ceci Torres, but her real name is Ceciliana. Very Puerto Rican. So she is from Puerto Rico, very proud to be a Boricua, where the sun and the sand and the soul shaped her into the vibrant Gemini she is today. At 45, Ceci brings her over 2 decades of heart, humor, and hustle to education. Starting as a teacher and now inspiring others as a passionate science coach. When she's not guiding minds, Ceci is chasing moments, sunrise to sunset, moonrise to moonset. A lover of yoga, cats, good food, and even better laughs, she lives for the magic in both quiet solitude and lively company. Sundays are for the Philadelphia Eagles, and every day she's down for DTF, which is down to Flannies. She loves her Flannigans.
I love it.
A rom-com romantic with a true crime curiosity. Ceci balances love and law like a pro. And lately, she's low-key crushing Celebrity Jeopardy. Hey! Nice. Not for the drama, but because she's out here getting the answers right like a boss. She cooks with love, lives with intention, and leads with joy. Ceci's the kind of person who can explain the phases of the moon while making you laugh. till your sides hurts. It's so fucking true. And when she shows up, she really shows up. I also met Ceci as a writer in one of my cycling classes, and I'm so glad she showed up to that class. It's one of those people that I know she'll always be a friend of mine, regardless I'm here in Miami or not. So everyone, welcome Ceciliana Torres.
Yay!
Hi, welcome. Thank you for having me. I'm so honored.
We're so excited to have you. And you know what? They kind of know a little bit about you, but what can you tell us? Let's hear like a little fun fact about you that I didn't mention on.
Oh boy.
the bio. I mean, listen, we are all about that true crime too, girl.
Listen, Friday nights are for Dateline NBC. That's all I love.
We love that.
I mean, it's just something that just makes me happy. That and a bottle of wine and my cats, and I'm good to go. I sound very lonely, but I'm not. I promise. It's like I live for it.
I love it.
No, we love it. We love it.
I don't know. Fun fact about me. I don't know. But I'm kind of like what you see is what you get. I'm super like bold and on it. I don't know.
I have a fun fact for everyone.
Oh.
Ceci is a homeowner.
Yes.
And to be a homeowner in a one-income household is huge. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that I was going to say, in this fucking economy, is just, she's the best right now. She's top tier. You know, if you want to look up to someone, she is your person. Because talk about hustle, she won't give up. And now, well, not now, it's been like a couple of years now, but I think I'm so proud of you. Like, I'm your mom almost.
Oh,
you know,
thank
it's
you.
a big
Even
step.
though I'm older than you, but yes, I'll take that.
Yeah. It's such a big step, and it's a lot to take care of. And then, like, when you think she's not just like a homeowner, she's also, she became part of the association. She's like, I'm putting my hands in, you know. So I think that is a really fun fact, to be a homeowner at this single person, like single income household, and then, you know, in this economy, it's just a miracle. So
yeah,
thank you. I also wanted to be a weather girl growing up when I was little. I wanted to be a weather girl or a chef. And like my dad and I had it all planned out. He also said if I ever get married, my reception, I was going to get married at Costco on a Saturday, because we already had this like the stands, and I thought that was like hysterical, like buffet style. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, so I don't know what I said that, but I just said it. But anyway, I really wanted to be the weather girl, and I wanted to be a chef. And like we took this trip to, I think it was Argentina. We went to Buenos Aires, and then we went to Bariloche, and they had like these plates, and I was like, Dad, yeah, we're gonna have these plates, and if it's a girl, we're gonna have like, they were gonna pink with that ballerina, and if it was like, I mean, we just had it like all planned out. And then that never happened, because then I became a teacher. I'm for the people.
Yes. And you've been doing it for a long time too.
A long time in Philadelphia and here in South Florida.
That's crazy. I'm so glad you're here in South Florida.
Me too.
Okay, so I'm just gonna talk a little bit about this movie and give a little synopsis, and then I'm just gonna tell you how we're gonna go about it. So I'm just gonna
I have notes, so you let me know. I got my notes.
I love that. I'm gonna do a little synopsis, and then we're gonna give like a quick opinion, each one of us, and then we'll dive into it right after that. Like, we'll go really deep. So the film that we're discussing today is Queer, and it came out in 2024. It's a period piece because it's based in the 1950s in Mexico City and Ecuador. It's a romantic drama, and it was directed by Luca Guadagnino, and it follows William Lee, an American expatriate who becomes infatuated with a younger man. Okay, everyone. I was gonna say something else, but everyone, let's hear your quick opinions about it. Tracy, you wanna go first?
Oh God, I didn't like it.
Okay.
I didn't like it.
Oh wait, I forgot to say it's also an A24 production.
It is.
Which I feel like we've been discussing A24 production films.
Right,
Back to back,
I
yeah.
didn't know that, and then when it had the opening, it said A24, and I said, "Oh, great!" And then, that's enough. It stopped.
That's where you got excited, and then you didn't get excited anymore. Okay.
I don't know. Just for me, I didn't find the characters likable, and that's okay. Like, not every movie you watch is going to have likable characters, but you can still like the movie. But
100%.
I didn't really like the characters. I found the story kind of boring. I feel dumb too, because I know there was a lot of like artsy fartsy stuff happening in it, and I was like, I don't know what's happening. I feel like I need a bigger brain to understand, and maybe I'm just like not in the right headspace when I watched it.
Okay.
Some of the direction was really cool.
Yeah.
Like I liked a lot of the direction. The acting was great. Don't get me wrong. Daniel Craig is amazing.
Yeah.
But just like the overall story, I just wasn't into it. I was a little bored.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Let me write that down. No, I'm kidding. Okay, let's go for it, Ceci. Tell us your quick opinion about it.
I mean, definitely the movie's not for everyone. And, I was taking notes. I was stopping and going, and I did have to look up some words, to just be honest. It's not for everyone. I thought it was very sad. Very sad. And very sad. And obviously, I don't relate to what the characters are going through. But it was sad, but I think it was beautifully made. I think, like Tracy said, the direction was beautiful. The acting was superb. And I don't know if I'm supposed to say this in here or not, but the fact that this man who plays the love interest or the obsession, let's say, or the infatuation that Daniel Craig has, his name is, the actor is Drew Starkey, and he's on Outer Banks. And the fact that he's awful in Outer Banks, but he was so good, I was like, who is this person? And like, oh my God, I was like, that's Rafe? So the acting is amazing. Even like Jason Schwartzman was super funny. And I thought it was really nicely made, and I love how they contrast the new with the old, the setting of the 1940s in Mexico City with like new music, current music. I thought that was so cool. And that theme, you see it all throughout the movie too.
Yeah.
The new with the stuff, and I thought that was like really, really cool. The story itself, the theme, just very sad, and it's just redundant at some point.
Yeah.
Like, get it over and done with.
Yeah.
But overall, not what I would watch all the time, but I appreciate it because it's so artsy and so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like kind of like an Almodovar.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say it was, for me it was a hard watch. Like it felt long. It felt very dark. It was very sad. My one thing here too, it felt like it had too many themes, so I couldn't really focus on one when it came to the character. I had like, yeah, he was queer, okay, so I thought that it was gonna be like a love story, or him like discovering that he can love somebody rather than just sleeping with them. But then it was, I feel like it was more a story about addiction, because we see it like build up at the beginning, but then like as the movie it just gets like darker and darker when it comes to his addiction. So for me, that part was like kind of confusing. I'm like, what are we focusing here on? Is it the addiction, or is it the love story? because you can tell that he, even with the people that he had been before, there was like no real connection, you know, and he kept talking about wanting to connect with somebody or wanting to talk to somebody. So for me, that was kind of confusing, but the acting, yes, beautifully done. And it's just, I don't think these actors are, and what you were saying before, Ceci, I think that actor, he's amazing, but I think in that series that he's on, he has bad material.
100%.
You know, because I don't even watch it, and I've seen Trey watch it, and I'm like, what are you watching? This sounds so fucking bad. You know, and it's like it's not well written, you know, so he is doing probably whatever he can with that script to get that bill, you know, to get that little money and pay his bills.
Well, he was killed off on the last season, so you won't see him again. So hopefully he'll focus on projects like this one with really good writing.
This will probably open so many doors for him, which is what I'm thinking, because he did that. I mean, everyone in the film was brilliant. I really love that it was, I could see, it felt like I was in the 1950s, because it was very, like, the cars, you know, the color of the
wardrobe.
Of the wardrobe, but the color of the buildings. So specific back then. But yeah, for me, it was just a hard watch. It's just, like, I wouldn't watch it again, you know.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did, but I did have to look up words. I was like, oh fuck, what are they? And I speak Spanish, you know, and they talked some Spanish there. I was like, oh, I'll be fine, you know. But some of the, like, it felt like very, very smart, you know. But he was a very smart character, so kind of makes sense. But let's dive in first into their relationship. I mean, let's dive into his relationship with everyone else, because the whole point from the beginning, I was like, is this guy, like, I didn't know what his career was, you know, like, what does he do for a living, because we don't really see that.
They don't say.
You know? They don't say. So I was like, he has so much time out there and drinking all day. So I was thinking, like, maybe he's looking for escorts, maybe he just wants to get his, you know. I was creating stories in my head the whole time at the beginning, because I couldn't figure out what he was. Did anybody struggle with that?
But I think that what he made for a living was irrelevant to the movie, because that was, like, not what the main focus was.
No, 100%. But I was like, how does he have all this time, you know, and all this money?
I got the impression that he's a writer, because when
the books, I thought he was a teacher,
or maybe, I don't know. He had 2 typewriters. So it's like, why do you need
That's
2
true.
typewriters if
He had one.
not using them? So, and he was always reading things. So I feel like when you're a writer, you look for inspiration in other people's works and things like that.
Yeah.
So I feel like he was a writer of some sort, whether it's novels or maybe like short pieces for like a newspaper or something like that. But I got the impression maybe he was a writer.
Yeah. Maybe, you know,
I didn't even pay attention to.
I think
it's
that
true.
would,
I don't
like,
think it really matters, but
it didn't really matter but for me, it, like, would have helped me understand his character a little bit more.
Yeah.
And the way he was with, you know, his obsession of I don't know if it was, like, really trying to, like, I don't know if this is my thing, I don't know if he was looking for love or just fucking around and this guy came to his life, you know.
I think he was looking for acceptance, and because he kept, even like when he at the beginning he goes to this bar and there's like the Mexican prostitute there,
Yeah.
and they go to the hotel and they I don't know what I can say here or not, but, and they do like their thing, and then he leaves, and then he sees the guy, like, he just, and even like when he sees, I think his name was Gene Allenton.
Yeah.
When he sees him, and I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself, like even when
you
they,
can say whatever.
I don't know if even after they're together, and he's like, he sticks around like a lost puppy, like wanting to be accepted by him, and then he would just like brush him off and be like, no, and then he will go with the girl. Allenton will go with the girl that was there, like who was always with him.
Yeah.
But then Lee will come around again, and they will go out on dates, so they spend time together. Then they had some sort of sexual relation, and he was all up. Both of them were all about that. And then Lee was then again being try to be all lovey-dovey and give him a kiss or a hug, and he's like, ugh, you know.
Yeah.
So I do think that he was looking for love and acceptance, and he wanted something. At the same time, I think he was also addicted to having something other than a drug, you know, which was that companion.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You think it was like more like reciprocal? Yeah, reciprocated love. Like he wanted to get back what he would give, because you're right. I feel like many times, you know, he was also a talker, so I feel like many times he probably didn't feel heard, you know, like nobody would listen to him because he talks so much. And I think that, like, there was a moment where he's having a conversation with Gene, and he starts laughing. Gene starts laughing. It was like something funny that he had said. And you can see the joy. He's laughing too, but you can see the joy. It's like, oh, he stayed all the way through. Like, I didn't lose him through my talking. Which I kind of felt like at some point, I was like, ooh, this, like, I was getting tired, and I wasn't even the one talking to him.
I think, like, part of the reason why I didn't really like Daniel Craig's character was just that he oozed this desperation. And like, that makes me uncomfortable with people, like when you're so desperate for someone to like you, and you're like screaming like, oh, love me, or whatever, like, that makes me uncomfortable. So I feel like he just wanted, like you said, Ceci, he wanted to be accepted. I do think he wanted to be loved. And then also I think another thing too is that it was hard to put myself in this place, not only because I'm not a gay man.
Yeah.
I'm not in my 50s. Also, the time period.
I was going to say, I'm like, it's not 1950.
Right. So it's like all those things was really hard to connect. Yeah. And I think especially, so we're in 1950s. He's an older gay man. So for him to be growing up in the United States in the like 20s, 30s, 40s, where it was illegal to be a homosexual, I think that too is like, you're trying to figure out who you are as a person, and to not feel accepted, and to feel like what you are is just so despicable. Yeah. That's got to be difficult too. So I had to like try to keep that in my mind.
There's a line that they say throughout the movie, and it says, "I'm not queer, I'm just disembodied." And that has to do with that, is that they're all expats. Either they're expats because homosexuality was illegal. So they went there to be themselves. Yeah. You know, they even had the Green Lantern Boys, a little group there that they have down there. So, but throughout the movie, they kept saying that, and it's like they're trying to connect, but they're disconnected with who they are, and it's that lack of acceptance. That's what I think.
No, that's probably right.
And then also back to Daniel's character. Throughout the movie, you see centipedes. And I went and I looked at definition of, or the symbolism of a centipede. And a centipede is actually a predatory arthropod that's venomous, but it's not poisonous. And I think that's what, and he was in some sort of way a predator because he was obsessive. He was kind of like stalking this kid at the beginning.
Yeah, that was very, very uncomfy while I was watching it. I was like, dude, you're not letting him breathe.
Even through his addiction, when they go down to South America, and he has to deal with that, he's poisoning or being some sort of venom to this kid, and or their relationship.
Yeah.
So I kept thinking about that. I looked it up and I was like, okay, this is him. He's the centipede. He's the predator. He's like, and it's gonna sound awful because I think that he really, really wanted to be loved and accepted, but he just was going about it the wrong way. And like, he wanted to keep relevant, like you said, Tracy, and he wanted to be likable, but he couldn't because he was that.
Yeah. I also feel like it also goes to his addictive personality. I mean, his addiction was not just like addiction to drug. It was an addictive personality. I think he was also addicted to that kid, because I feel like once he set his eyes on him, it was like, I can't, like from the beginning, we see like how his obsession, like you were saying, it just starts like building and building to the point that he's like following him everywhere, and the kid cannot do anything on his own. And I feel like the age gap too kind of show the predator side of him, and I mean, we can go a little bit deeper. I think there was that first sexual encounter that they had. I wrote down, ew, gross. I said, why are you kissing him after giving him a blowjob? I'm
sorry.
I also said he wanted to be like so much that he was serving him first. Although he was like the powerful one, the overpowering one. He was like, no, I want to please him because I want him to like me.
Which is what he did with that male sex worker.
Yes.
Pleasured him first, which is like, and then he was going to pay him. And I'm like,
yeah.
I mean,
I was like, it should be the other way around.
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah.
I mean, you're the one paying. Right. You get the services. You don't have to keep them.
Exactly. But I guess that just goes to what you're saying about his character and like his need for wanting to be accepted and loved and all of that.
Again,
I also
sad.
wrote, like, I was like, he just vomited.
That was my thing. I was like, I throw up and I don't feel well. I'm not in the mood, but also I'm not a man. Like, I feel like they'll do it whenever.
That is true.
Their sex drive is different than a woman's.
It's different. Yeah. That's actually, you're right. That's true. But yeah, in that, like, that whole part, it made me feel a little bit uncomfortable, but I was uncomfortable first because there was many things that I was thinking about, like grossness in the way, like, it's the 1950s, there's no AC. They're in Mexico. I am from DR. I can tell you the pipes are different in our countries, if if there's no electricity, which happens more than what we're used to here in the US, people can be very nasty because the water is cold, so they won't really shower. And I'm like, these are Americans that are coming from a country that they got hot water when they need it and all this stuff. And I was just thinking, like, when was the last time they showered? It looks very musty in there. I had like so many things. I don't know. It grossed me out because he looked so sweaty from the beginning. I'm like, they haven't done anything, and they're already sweaty.
I actually wrote this down, and it goes against to like all the comparatives that they had throughout the movie. Lee always looked dirty, where Eugene always looked clean cut, like perfectly. But then again, you have someone who's an addict, and addicts when they go withdrawals, when they go draws, like they look like that.
Yeah.
The other kid was just like a super clean cut, like I just got here, I'm new to this thing.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think it was like a good juxtaposition of like both characters. Like you have that drug addict, you have the guy that's definitely not. But let's talk about how first, like, I don't know if you, because again, I didn't know what the story, like where the story was going, because I was like, oh, we're gonna go for the drugs or we're gonna go for the love. Like I had no idea. So I don't know if you guys felt this way, but after their first the first time they had sex or oral sex, whatever, I was like, oh fuck, this is it, because the kid is a sex worker basically. He's like hanging out with other people, they're paying him. We really don't know what goes behind doors with him.
You're talking about Gene?
Yes.
You think he was a sex worker?
Yeah. He at one point he said, I think I'm gonna work tonight, and his work was to be with the lady.
Oh, I didn't get that.
And he said, I'll pay you $20. I thought he was a sex worker the whole time. And he said, even when he was going to South America, he said something about like, you won't have to pay for anything. And he was like, not with money.
I mean,
I feel like there was like different like little Easter eggs about it. Like they never really said it, but yeah, when he said like, oh, I think I'm gonna work, and he's with the old lady, that you can see, they go walk back, and then he puts his hand behind her.
I saw that part, yeah. I just thought that he was confused. Like he just goes. I thought he was maybe bisexual.
Oh no! Because he was getting paid.
Because he also says the line, I'm not queer, I'm just disembodied. Both of them say it.
He said that, yeah. I feel like that's what he was the whole time, and I think that's what made Daniel Craig's character be even more like confused, being like, do you want me because of me, or do you want me to like pay for the trip, as a payment? So
but he was also there for him when he got all those withdrawals, and he took him to, like, he took care of him too.
I don't think it was in his character to leave him. Like, I don't think he would have been that kind of person.
In the movie, when they went to South America, they only show them having intercourse once. And that's when they went to Peru, I think. Peru, Ecuador, Peru. Well, they went to both.
Ecuador? I don't know.
They went to both.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't think, I don't think he was with him for sex. For work. I don't think he was with Daniel Craig's character for work. But Daniel Craig's character might have perceived it like that many times. I do think he was with the lady sex work. 100%. That's what I created in my head. There are so many. I didn't know where this story was going. I was like, this is gonna be a love story from the beginning. When they saw each other, I was like, oh, he's gonna learn how to love. And then I was like, wait, drugs? No. We're going back. Hold on.
It's a love story to drugs, because
probably
he wanted to get that yage, that ashwagandha, because he wanted to study. What is it, telepathy?
telepathy.
Yes, yeah. But also, like, I don't know. You guys saw, like, I love that in the movie that they didn't tell us right away the drug abuse. They just started showing us because at one point Jean sees the spoon.
Yes.
And we're like, right away, I was like, oh, he does heroin?
Yeah.
And then I think, like, later on, we kind of see his whole process, and you can tell that it was something that he did all the time. And, you know, I think with addiction, it's such a horrible disease, you know. It's if you don't have the right support system, you know, like, things can go south really, really bad. And, you know, to see that vulnerable side of him, you know, made me feel a little bit more empathetic to his character when they were in South America, because again, I didn't feel any empathy for him either. You know, I think Tracy had said, like, she's like, I didn't like his character, and I'm like, again, we don't understand what it is to be in the 1950s in Mexico and being queer. Like, I don't understand the three of them. So I can't, like, I'm saying this, but I don't know how it was and how horrible it was. But when seeing him go through the withdrawals, just made my heart was breaking for him, because we know it's bad, but we don't think it's that bad. You know, I thought it was like recreational, but then I was like, well, no, this is heroin. Like, I think once you're there, it's just
You're there.
you're very addicted. Yeah.
You're there.
Yeah. So to see that part of him, that vulnerable part of, like, I don't know what to do. And at first I was like, wait, is he getting sick? And then I was like, oh, right away, AIDS? Right away.
That's what I thought, but I was like, that it didn't exist back then.
Yeah.
And then, when he went to the doctor and he was like, what are your symptoms? And he was like, bloody diarrhea, vomiting. And I was like, oh, that sounds horrible. I felt bad for him then. And then I love when he gives him the, like, 3 cc's of opioid tincture. And he's like, what is this going to do? 3 cc's?
Yeah.
Which, it's not a lot.
Yeah. I mean, that part was very hard. It just got darker and darker. As it went. Okay, so we get to that. We get to Ecuador, which, by the way, I was thinking, and Trey watched a little bit in and out. He was like, man, flying in the 1950s, that must have been scary. I thought the same.
And you could smoke
Flying
back then.
and smoking inside the plane. Oh,
I mean, you could smoke in the 1997s too, in the 90s in those airplane.
That's true.
Oh, yes.
What a time to be alive, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know, because I remember watching, like, Mindhunter, and they'd be and they're smoking on the plane, and I'm just like, I can't believe that you can't even breathe on a plane anymore, and they're like, stop.
Oh.
So imagine smoking.
It's nasty.
It's disgusting. I lived through that, and it's. I mean, I'm not from the 1950s, but you know, I went on a trip to Europe for my 15th birthday, and at that time I was a smoker. So the teacher that I went with put me out in the smoking section of the airplane, and coming back I was sick, and I was like, I don't want to be there. I'm sick. I don't want to have a cigarette. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And he's like, okay. I'm like, and first of all, I'm not even supposed to be smoking. I'm 15 years old. This is like a school-sponsored trip. Anyway, but it was disgusting. I mean, I was like, I can't deal with this.
Oh my God.
Just to think
I
about
can't believe you were in the smokers section.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad.
God, your hair. Because the hair comes out smelling exactly like that. It's gross.
Yeah. Imagine greeting my parents after like 30 days of not seeing them, and I smell like literally a cigarette butt. Oh, amazing. I'm like, people are like, you know. Anyway.
So funny.
Okay, back to the movie. Sorry.
No, I love that.
Fun fact.
That is a fun fact. So they get to Ecuador. He's going through withdrawals. They go to a doctor. He gets a couple of opioids. just a
Like,
couple, to like help him push through, basically. And then they decide, he kind of like goes to that like farm place, and the guy is like, not here, you can get it with this American lady. I don't know if you guys felt this, but the part where they film when they get there, they're like in the jungle, like the quality of the film, it felt like I was back in the day, like watching TV back in the day, because it felt very it felt not HD. Until they were like inside the cabinet or whatever. I mean inside the cabin, whatever that was. I don't know what that was, like a tree house. I don't know what it was.
Cabin, that's
But
fine. We'll go with that.
yeah, but it like when they were like in the jungle and she comes out with the gun, I was like, oh, we're watching a movie from the 50s right now. That's how it felt like for me, the cinematography of it.
But that goes in the back and forth that he has throughout, like the old with the new, throughout the film, you know?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And then, you know, they meet this lady who's a psychopath.
Dr. Cotter.
With a what? A what?
Dr. Cotter, that was her name.
Yes. Yes. That is crazy. I love that she had her gun, though. She was like, who is it?
She like trained a viper.
Right here. Yes.
Yeah.
She's like,
I
Viper,
mean,
go away.
Yeah, that says it all. If you can train
Yeah.
like a poisonous snake to do your bidding,
Yeah.
you cuckoo ka-choo.
Yeah. And they have that, you know, that little moment there when they're talking, and that's when he tells her, like, I'm here. Well, there's this back and forth because she's like obsessed with her research, which I totally get. You know, she was trying to probably find a sweet spot, excuse me.
I mean, she's fully committed to the research. She lives there.
Yeah. And also, like, girl, like, no one...
So dirty. Those teeth. Oh, my God.
That's what I thought too. I was like, girl,
teeth.
brush them teeth.
And the hair.
The hair.
I was like, that hair needs a wash. They look like they hadn't showered in months.
And, like, the husband, I was like, this lady has a husband and I don't? I mean, come on. Seriously.
Yeah, she
I'm
looked
gonna
bad.
stop brushing my teeth. I'm gonna stop doing all this stuff. I mean, see, a lo mejor somebody would love me this way. I don't know. I don't know.
There's someone for everyone, right?
Literally, because holy shit. I was
Allegedly, apparently, I don't know. Let's see.
She was rough. She was looking rough, let me tell you. And the hair, I was like, oh no, like, I was just, like, I kept thinking, I was like, everyone stinks at this time. Everyone is stinky.
Yeah.
Very, very stinky. And they get there, and they also get dirty. Both of them.
Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, they're rolling around in the dirt.
Lee and Eugene, they're both extremely dirty. At one point, you see him, like, Eugene finally, like, clean. But Lee still stays dirty as fuck. When they do the ayahuasca.
The
Ayahuasca. Which, you know what? I was like, wait, because I was looking for the original name that they gave us in the movie, which was yahe. I was like, what is this? And then it said like ayahuasca. I was like, oh no, because I know that's like a psychedelic, hallucinations, and you know, it really fucks you up apparently. And I was thinking, you know, I don't have an addictive personality, you know, but I wonder how it feels for a person, you know, that is a drug addict to do something like that, you know, like would that be something that you get addicted to? Because that did not look like a fun experience.
No, I think with ayahuasca, and actually people do it to this day, they go into retreats to like find themselves because it's supposed to be like a mirror and a reflection of you.
Nine Perfect Strangers on Hulu.
That's something, yeah. And and you know, like Aaron Rodgers from the Jets or before the Jets or the Green Bay, allegedly he goes into these retreats and they go and it's like for you to like find yourself and have like these like crazy hallucinations and like experience yourself outside of it. But I don't think you can be addicted to it though. I mean, anything can be an addiction, but I don't think it's gonna be like heroin. Then again, I am not a professional. I'm not a doctor. I'm just, you know, talking
shit, judging. We're here judging.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, what's the effect? Like, yeah, we know the effect, hallucinations, you know, like so at one point they say in the movie that it's also like a projection of who you are.
Yeah.
You know, like a mirror. But I was thinking like an addicted character, what would happen to them? Because if you have an experience, if I was an addicted person or had an addiction, after doing that, I don't think I would ever do drugs again.
But that's you.
Yeah, I was gonna say it is more
Like,
of an experience.
Yeah,
Like you do it once and you're like, I'm good.
But then like it would make me stop doing the other stuff. But I'm coming from a place where I'm not an addictive person either. So it's like it's hard for me to say these things without really knowing how it feels like.
Sure.
And we see it in that, like when they're like, oh, we're fine, we just had water with leaves and stuff.
Oh no, it's like we just drank some twigs and dirt. That's what I have it in my other notes. Yeah.
Throwing up
their hearts.
They're like
they're fucking
and then dance. That's when I was like, what the fuck is going on?
But I have to put out there. But I want to go. Wait, hold on. Because they start hallucinating, but then they go and they're kind of like morphing to each other and intertwine, and you feel like the beating of their hearts and their pulse, and then they go into
what hearts? They threw it up.
I mean,
that's what I kept thinking. I was like, oh no, the hearts. They have no hearts.
But it makes sense.
Yeah.
Once the predator, the other one rejects the other one. After being together, it makes sense that they have no heart. You know.
That's true.
But then they do this like beautiful, like interpretive dance or what? I'm not the dancer, so I think that's how you call it. I'm not sure. And it was gorgeous.
Yeah,
it was beautiful, and like you feel the sadness, I think, of both of them and the loneliness of both of them, even though one was more lonely than the other.
Yeah. And you know, like seeing that, because I also feel like that was the connection that Daniel Craig's character was looking for, you know, to go into quote unquote a telepathy level, because we really don't know if they could have been just laying down in bed. That's like my thing. I'm like, we have no idea what was happening in reality. We just saw their high, you know. So I'm like, they could have been just laying separately and having both this experience. And I'm like, well, maybe this is what he was looking for, like to connect at that deeper level with someone else without having to touch them, because he says something like, I want to touch them without touching them.
Well, do you remember when they went on that date and they went to the movie theater? And then I was mind blown. Like, this director, holy shit.
That was really good.
So good.
Yeah.
Because he was there for like eating popcorn, but he was like, I wanna touch you, and he goes like that. And I was like, oh my word. Like, it's
how
like
did they do that? Yeah.
We're seeing that this director, Luca, is like showing us his train of thought, his thinking, his actions, what he wants to do to this young man, but he knows he can't do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And there was no ashwagandha there at that moment.
No, that was well, probably a little heroin, but you know, there was
two different things though.
There was no hallucination there. It was what he actually really wanted. So that's what I kept thinking when they did their interpretive dance, where they were like integrating with each other. I was like, maybe this is exactly what he wanted, this kind of experience But then I was kind of upset because I was like, I wish they would have given us like a hint of what was really happening, because the next day when they're leaving, that lady tells Eugene, you should have seen yourself last night. And I'm like, what?
Well, they both woke up from their trip out of, if that's what they were both crying. They both had tears in their eyes.
Yes. Yeah. And then they were like, okay, let's just go to sleep. Yeah, I wish they would have like give us like a little like a 2-second thing, and we're like, oh my god, that's what they're experiencing, and they're just sitting. That would have been very cool.
There was a documentary on Netflix about ashwagandha and like that people go on these retreats, but all that people do is take it. They throw up because I think that's one of the like you get really sick in your stomach. But I think they're like sleeping. I think they're laying down. I don't think they're moving anywhere.
Oh wow!
I might be wrong. I watched it. I don't remember, but I watched it.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I might be wrong. I don't know.
I believe it. And then which by the way, tell me what you guys think about, how the movie, like, they're walking in the jungle, and then we see Lee flying in the universe like Katy Perry, and just like
fake by the way. Everyone's saying that they didn't go to space.
I believe
I digress.
They go.
I digress.
Oh
but yes.
God! But I had to throw that in there.
I mean, Gail was shitting her pants going to the what's it, shuttle machine, spacecraft, whatever it was.
Me anyway. Watching that, I mean, like, we just want free healthcare.
Right?
Yeah. That's what we want.
Oh.
But whatever. So he's flying in the universe like Katie, and he's like flipping, and then suddenly he lands on a beach, and I was like, wait, are we still hallucinating or what? And
that was like, fast forward, we're moved on.
Yeah, but I don't think that was necessary, because I'm like, are they giving us like a drug hangover right now to to have a segue? I don't know. I didn't think it was necessary, but he gets to 2 years later, I guess, back to his quote unquote hometown, because he's been living in Mexico for a while, and he sees his friend. But all I kept thinking was like, okay, like, can you guys tell us what happened with Eugene? Because it sounds like Eugene went back and then he left again with someone else.
So I think Daniel Craig, that's a different one. Daniel Craig stayed in Peru or Ecuador, whatever the place was, for 2 years. And Gene left. He's like, fuck this shit, I'm leaving. Like, I don't want this for me. And when he goes back to to Mexico City, and that's when he sees, when they go to, what is it, the shore something? The name of the bar, I can't remember.
Ships Ahoy?
Ships Ahoy. Yeah.
So he sees the character played by Jason Schwartzman, one of those two. And he's like, he doesn't ask for him. So that things didn't end up right.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, I'm just going to tell you anyway. Like, he's left to whatever with this captain. And he said
he was going to be the tour guide.
Yeah, he's never been heard of again. So we don't know, like, if he was killed or not, or,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then that was it for him.
Yeah.
Except at the end, when when he comes back to the hotel room, and the colors are the same but they're different, and it's like him from the outside looking in, which I thought it was beautifully made. And then you see them like spooning, like big spoon, small spoon, which happened in at the beach, I think. And then that was it.
Yeah.
Then he just dies.
That whole moment of like that hallucination at the end too, when he's in that bedroom and he kind of like sees him, you know, and it's like he like he tries to like shoot him, but not really. So I'm thinking, you know, that was basically like our representation of what he was feeling. Like, oh no, he's dead to me. You know, like he's gonna pretend that didn't really exist.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's. I know Tracy isn't a fan because she hasn't said much about it.
But this is where I feel dumb because it's so interpretive and it's like you have to read into so much shit. And sometimes I don't want to do that in a movie. Just tell me.
Yeah.
You know,
that is
like,
true.
because it's like the snake eating its tail and it's in the infinity symbol. So obviously that means something. And then you see him with the necklace and it's the centipede. So it's like there's that. And like his pulse is like really fast too. So you got to read into that. And then him putting the glass on his head and shooting him in the head. Like there's just so many things. And I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I feel stupid. Just tell me. And then fast forward and he's like really old and about to die. And then he just hears Gene going, Lee. And then he like stops breathing and then he dies. And it's like, what?
I know. I was like, wait.
So he never stopped loving him?
Oh,
That-
no. Lee was like in love hasta los cojones with him. Like he loves him.
Yeah.
And
I also feel like it was because I was like, okay, like what does this death means? Like getting older and dying on your own. Does that mean you chose the drugs over the love? You know, like, again, like it is a very sad film, you know,
it is.
And he dies alone. So
Or maybe because
I'm
that was his
thinking,
one and only and he never loved anyone again.
Maybe that's another. Well, it's A24. They love doing that.
I know.
Us guessing.
Right. Which, like, sometimes I get it and I'm fine with it, but, like, when it's so much and, like, so interpretive and, like, symbolic, it makes my head want to explode.
Yeah, these are the movies. This type of movie is a type of movie that you have to watch sober. So you have to.
I feel like I should have been on ayahuasca watching this.
Right? To get it.
Maybe, but if you're gonna take notes, I was like, you know, pero intense and sad, lonely, desperation, acceptance. Yeah,
it is very sad. Okay, so, Ceci, I don't know if you know this, but when we are almost done reviewing a film, Tracy always gives us fun facts about the film. Yes.
Okay, so just to preface this movie is based off of the book Queer by William S. Burrough. So the movie contains 2 Nirvana songs, Come As You Are and Marigold, and a cover of All Apologies performed by Sinead O'Connor. Kurt Cobain, who was the lead singer of Nirvana, he was actually friends with William S. Burrough. So they
that's cool.
Yeah, so he was introduced to his work in school, and Kurt even collaborated with Burrough on an EP that he titled The Priest They Called Him, that was released in 1993. The director, Luca Guadagnino.
Luca G.
Luca G. He revealed in an interview during the film's release that the use of these songs was intentional to highlight Cobain and Burroughs' friendship.
Oh, that's cute.
So that's nice.
That's nice.
The film utilizes the use of detailed miniatures extensively, from the streets of Mexico City to the airplane takeoff scene. So even the movie theater that was made of miniatures, and a reel of many of the models made for the film can be viewed on YouTube.
Wow, that's cute.
Yeah, so like some of the
Tiny.
Yeah, like the cityscape. Like I'm sure if you think about it or you look back on it, you could tell like there were some things that were miniatures. Daniel Craig was ultimately the one who convinced Luca G to cast Drew Starkey after watching audition tapes. And he said to him, "That's the guy," after he saw Drew's.
Wow.
That's how you know the guy is a good actor, has always been a good actor.
Yeah.
But he was working on a show that was not giving him good material.
I mean, as an actor,
Dude,
you can
I feel
only
so
do so
bad.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can only do so
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
not what Moira Rose says. Just like, you gotta lift the script. I'm like, sometimes you can't lift that script, baby.
Yeah, it's like CPR won't help this thing. It's dead on arrival. Luca G stated in an interview that Queer is a project he's wanted to make since he was 20 years old.
Wow.
Oh,
So-
wow.
How old is he now?
He must be in his 40s if he's friends with Kirk.
Yeah,
Cobain.
probably like
He was
15,
friends
20
with
years.
him.
Yeah. So one of the two films directed by Luca in 2024. So he did Challengers.
Oh, yeah.
I saw
And
that.
I heard he did Call Me By Your Name, too.
Right, which I like that movie.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Right, and so both
Is that the one with Timothy Chalamet?
Yeah, Timothy Chalamet and
Chalamet.
Yeah, yeah,
Armie
yeah.
Hammer, the cannibal.
Oh, yeah, the cast. I don't know that. I don't think I can watch something by him now. I'm gonna think like
Tracy the Cannibal.
But before we all knew this, watch the movie and like it's really good. But but both Challengers and then this movie were written by Justin Kuritsky's. So it's I love that
Justin.
like some people just love working together.
Yeah, yeah. I think it says a lot about the director.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Agreed. Okay, so Lee's drug-fueled vision of shooting Allerton in the head with the whiskey tumbler atop his head, so this is all at the end. So that's unknown to those aware of William S. Burroughs' history, as this was how he accidentally killed his common-law wife, Joan Vollmer, in September of 1951. So he was living... Yeah,
God.
so he was living in Mexico City during a party hosted by a friend where one of the guests who witnessed the death was Adelbert Lewis Marker, who's the inspiration for Eugene. While not part of the actual novel, Queer, Vollmer's passing was said to be what ultimately inspired Burroughs to become a novelist. It would also become a critical plot element of David Cronenberg's adaptation of Naked Lunch, 1991. That's the movie, but William S. Burroughs wrote Naked Lunch, which also features William Lee as its protagonist and also includes sections of Queer in its dialogue. The vision is also alluded to earlier in the film when Lee sees Mary doing the William Tell routine, as it was called, with another guest, albeit with a toy gun at John Dumay's party. So when he's like super drunk and he shows up and she's sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But you know that they played that game at one of the parties at the Green Lantern board that the boys were throwing. The girl that was with that paid for
right.
Jean.
Yeah.
They were playing that like, but like fake one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right, one more.
It's like all connected.
Yeah, one more. So the film that Lee and Eugene watched together, that is actually Jean Cocteau's surrealist Orphée, a modern, which for 1950, is a retelling of the legend of Orpheus and Eurydice. So the plot of Queer resembles the ancient Greek myth. So Orpheus cannot bear that his wife has died and descends into the underworld to rescue her, but ultimately winds up losing her forever. In Queer, Lee is obsessed with continuing his relationship with Eugene, and he undertakes a quest he believes will permanently bond them together, but in the process loses him forever. Eugene...
this is what they aim for.
Right.
Okay.
So Eugene simply seems to disappear when they're trekking out of the jungle, so it's symbolic to the underworld. And Lee later learns that Eugene went back into the jungle and hasn't been seen since.
Interesting.
Got it. Wow. You see, that was too smart for me to understand.
I noticed
same,
though when they
It's really in depth, you know.
Yeah, and it's like they always bring things back. So it's like when they're watching that movie and then it says something about like when you step into the mirror, you might not like what you see. And like that whole theme like comes up a lot too. Cause like even the doctor says something to him about like going on the ayahuasca. Like it's like a mirror and you're not going to like what you see sometimes.
Yeah.
So they love to bring things back.
Yeah. But, you know, now that makes, like, much more sense. It's like he works so hard on that love that he loses it, you know?
Yeah.
So desperate for things to work. You're forcing it.
It's fucking sad. Yeah, that's very
Can't
sad.
force it.
Wow. Wow. Okay, thank you, Tracy, for those fun facts.
pleasure.
Okay, so
That's a lot.
let's go through. Do we recommend or do we not recommend? Ceci, go first.
I think people should watch it. Why not? I recommend it. I mean, it was so well made.
Yeah.
Yes, it's long.
Yeah.
It's long. Yes,
Yeah.
you are not going to understand some of the stuff. You're going to have to think about it. But if you're the type of person that likes those movies and like, the acting is so good. I cannot
It's
get
so
over how
good.
good it is. I cannot get over these new songs, modern songs with the old scenery, stage, whatever, cinematography, whatever you want to call it.
Cinematography.
I think it's thank you. I don't know anything about this, but I just watch stuff. But I think people, you have to be in the mood. It's not but I think people should watch it. Why not? I mean, but I have a question.
Okay.
How do you feel about straight actors playing gay characters? Because I know like it's been like that has been a hot topic in like other films and 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Is the kid straight?
Yes, he's straight.
Okay.
And Daniel Craig. So yeah.
There-
both
Yo,
of
I know
them.
Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know.
And Jason Schwartz
Right.
is too.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, I get it. I get why people like get upset because the talent is probably there, but you know, it's. I think films like this. I don't know. It's very hard because like a film. For example, I would say when it comes to like recommending it, I don't recommend this to everyone. You know.
Yeah.
I think it's like you have to be a person that appreciates films. You know. I don't think someone a random would be like, it's okay. But I also feel like if it wasn't Daniel Craig, would the performance be that good? You know, because I think the reason why he was casted is because that was excellent. You know, I also think like most of the time they try to like go the easy way out, being like, I know for sure this actor's gonna nail it. So and sometimes they are reading the script, the directors, and they're already picturing someone. So it's like
That's true.
really hard, really hard to judge it. But I do think if you have 3 gay characters, none of them were gay, I'm like, that's not okay. Also, like, it's hard because like I'm not gay, so I'm like, don't you want a perspective from them? Don't you want at least one character to be gay? So I know it's hard, but it's hard to say it because they were all good. But if they were like famous actors that were bad, we would have been very upset. You know?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like, we would have been like, why didn't you cast real gay guys? You know? But because they perform it so well, I don't mind it.
I mean, it was,
You know?
it was, I'm like blown away. Anyway, but I would not recommend this movie to my father. I'll tell you that. I would
Same.
recommend it to some of my friends. Like,
Same.
you know, like you got to know who you're going to recommend it to. But if you're someone that studies film, an
Yeah.
aspiring filmmaker, an aspiring actor,
Yeah.
I would totally be like, hell yeah, watch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
What about you,
Not-
Tubansky?
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
that's-
mom will appreciate the art, I think, but no, I don't. But not my dad, so no.
That's what I was
Like,
thinking.
you just gotta know your people.
too.
You
Yeah,
have to know who.
like if you're going to school for filmmaking or like writing scripts, like this is a good movie to watch and analyze.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it for everybody. Again, same thing like last week with Baby Girl. I can appreciate that it's a good film. The acting was great, the direction,
Yeah.
cinematography. Is this my kind of movie? No. Like I'm not gonna watch it again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. It's because I give it 2 thumbs up. The film was very, very well made. It's just not for everyone,
Right.
you know. And talking about 2 thumbs up, so the Rotten Tomatoes score was 77, which is not bad.
Pretty good.
That's like a solid C.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Rotten Tomatoes is tough. Tough.
That's why I'm like 77 isn't bad.
Yeah. And then, and in general, they got like a 7.1 from IMDb,
Which is really good.
which is really good. And then, no, never mind, 6.4. But in general, with all the with all the websites that do this, they got a 7.1. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, the audience was 65, which I get. You know, not everyone's gonna appreciate this film.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very hard watch. I mean, if I know there's a person in a dark time in their lives, I would never suggest this movie. You know,
Oh, fuck
Yeah.
no.
Or like a
'Cause
recovering
it's so
heroin
dark.
addict.
Yeah, like oh my gosh, no.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I think that for the first time, I want to say I think the scores are accurate. And I guess that's it. Ceci, where can the listeners find you?
Oh, at my house? I don't know.
So give them your address.
No. They can find me on Instagram. I am private though because I'm a school teacher and I believe in privacy for my
As
students.
you should.
So, but my handle is CESSMTU, CESSMTU. You can request me, send me a message, and tell me how you got me.
Yeah.
And then I will check out your profile and I'll see. Sorry, it's just I'm very, very private when it comes to
You
stuff
should.
like that.
You should definitely do that.
Nothing wrong with
I
that.
do have a TikTok. I don't know how to use TikTok. I only watch it I just have it because of Taylor Swift. So to watch the grainy videos of her Eras tour. And I am on Facebook. I don't know if anybody uses Facebook anymore, but I am there. I don't know. I think that's all I got.
That's
'Cause
it.
I have Snapchat, but I only use Snapchat to like send cute videos to my nephews. That's it.
And Ceci, you are a teacher, so
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
You have to be private. She has to go
I'm private.
through a thorough thing to be like,
Yeah.
okay, you can follow me.
I
And
don't blame you.
100% get it.
Yeah. So, and I had students, like previous students or current students, that they have found me and they would they might be in middle school or high school, and I think that's super inappropriate. So I'd be like, no, and that's it. So, no. No.
Hey,
That's a hard no.
Put that foot down.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good for
Well,
you.
Yes.
Ceci, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah,
We
that was
loved
great.
Thank you for
having
having me. I had a blast. I hope I get invited back.
I think
Yeah.
you should come back for a better film.
Yeah.
For a film that is a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
Because I love
Okay.
that your input was beautiful. And it
Yes.
was like, I love that you brought a different perspective, because knowing Tracy and I, we were about to trash this film. And in a way, like, not saying that the film wasn't done well, knowing both that the film was done well, it was more like, what are they focusing on? So you just gave us a fresh perspective that maybe stuck in our hearts, you know? And I know you're part of our Bitter Bitch Club. So, you know, knowing that Ceci was like, no, this is how I see it. I'm like, you know what? Maybe she's not as bitter as us. And that's okay.
Definitely not. I think numero uno right here.
But thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course.
For the listeners.
Tracy, enjoy your vacation, your cruise.
Yes, Tracy,
Thank you very much.
Vacay.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your not friends, tell your lovers and your not lovers and enemies and everywhere, and your whole family. Hey, we actually didn't curse a lot in this episode. I'm so proud. Who are we?
True.
My dad would be proud, but I wouldn't tell him to listen to this because he wouldn't like this film.
This movie, yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
Like Ceci's dad.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys
Yeah,
for listening. We will talk to you all soon. Bye.
no. All right. Bye.